Everybody, thanks for watching. Just a quick reminder that Ancient History Volume 3 is out. I put up a sale for the last 6 digital downloads. That sale will end Monday. A lot of people requested more time, but it will end on Monday. And let me just say, I understand people's frustration about these sales that I do be having. A lot of people get upset, and just like any other business, you have sales. And for my motivation behind the sales is to just help people out as far as people who can't afford to purchase at that price or to get the last 6 or 7 or however many videos they may have missed at that price. So the sales are really to help people. And I know a lot of people get frustrated by it, but you guys don't get the emails that I get from elderly people that's on fixed incomes that really can't afford it. And of course, a lot of people say, well, you should put it out for free. But as you can see, I can't put the type of content that I put in the DVDs out on YouTube because it gets taken down. And I can't very well just, send out DVDs for free and, what have you at a cost to myself. So it is what it is on that. I appreciate everybody who takes the time to purchase and support. But I'm not Walmart. So I don't have 6,000 stores around the world. I can't do rollbacks. I can't make up that difference. So a lot of people wouldn't send an email to Walmart because they paid $9.99 for something one week and then they seen it on sale for $4.99 the next week. You're not going to send Walmart an email and say, hey, what's up with that? Phil cheated. So, you don't do it to the white man, don't do it to me. Had a couple people send actual emails about the sale, because they paid full price for it before. But as I said, as with any other company, sales is a must. You have to really look out for people who are in certain positions. And I have, young kids, as well as elderly people who actually watch and want to support. So I appreciate the support from everybody. This is not a spit in the face to everybody who buys day one and supports from day one. I really appreciate you guys' support. But as I said, it is what it is. With this type of business, I'm not huge to be able to do stuff like that. But also, I've been talking about the clothes for a minute. I did launch Kemet Conscious Clothing. The link is in the description. There is a lot more coming as far as clothes and shoes. Everything else you see up there, I get from wholesale manufacturers. If you watch the Personal Economics series, I talked about this. I've been selling online for years, as I talked about. Now, the wholesale manufacturers that I buy from are Jamaican and from Africa, companies like Islandware and Global Lover, as well as Japanese companies, Singapore, Vietnamese, Hong Kong as well. I purchase wholesale clothes and shoes from all these companies. And, you'll see it on the site, as well as shirts that I design, and coming soon, more shoes and pants and hats as well. But what's up now is, what's launching right now. So take a look, and I appreciate everybody who supports all that. So, that aside, let me get into the video and really get into this question that I've been getting from so many people about, reincarnation. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, I put up a post the other day about reincarnation in response to a lot of questions I get in my DM about reincarnation. I talked about In That's Game, the Bible and Christianity finally explained about what the Bible is revealing to us and what it's really talking about as far as the female womb and what it's really all about. So, as I said in the post, you got to really think about it. When we criticize people, we talk about people that worship this God that's giving you all these promises. The Bible talks about in Matthew, praying you shall receive. It's almost like a cruel joke that, this whole God and Jesus exists. And we all know as rational people that we're not receiving anything from them because they don't exist. We talk about the whole thing. We've been talking about it for centuries, about the fact that people who seemingly have common sense worship this God that they know damn well does not exist. It's a cruel joke. But at the same token, you have a lot of people that's really pushing reincarnation as a must, as something that we should really just, accept. And that's not the point that I wanted people to get, in the videos. You got to understand that reincarnation, as the ancients talked about, which many ancient civilizations talked about it, the Buddhists talk about it as well as the ancient Egyptians. But the whole point is for you to escape reincarnation, to not come back. And it's kind of sort of, one of the things I really like to hint on in the videos for you to really understand what that entails and how deep it is. So my point to a lot of the Christians who say that, whether I worship God or not, they believe that they're still going to get into heaven. They believe that because they say they worship God, or because they believe, they somehow have faith that he exists, that it's going to get them into heaven. So they say things all the time. You've heard it plenty of times, that if I'm wrong, what can happen? But if they're right, they go to heaven, which don't make sense if you're not actually following the religion and truth the way you're supposed to. Then obviously you're not going to go according to the book that they don't read. But, I don't want people believing that reincarnation is something that's supposed to happen. It's just, to me, it's just as sick as Christianity to me, to believe that you're supposed to have this experience here in this life, this existence of love and this experience. It's so much that you go through, in your life, to die, reincarnate with absolutely no memory of it. That's just as sick as, believing in this Jesus and Bible to me. So in John 3, what Jesus is talking about, being born again. Truly, I tell you must be born again. Unless a man comes from a woman's womb or enters in a woman's womb, he cannot see the kingdom of God. And this is what it's telling you. And, be born again. The kingdom of God is the female's womb. So when the Bible, again, is talking about that the kingdom of heaven is within you. And this is what people are not getting. When you die, reincarnation, you start again. You are born again. You come back here. It's hard for a lot of people to put that, together, because it's so simple. It's literal. And it's given to you clear as day. But people, for some reason, don't want to acknowledge the truth. The simple fact that you come from your mom. I don't care how you want to slice that. You can't find a person on this planet that wasn't born from a woman's womb. And plain and simple, it's the same way you come back here. Now, in meditation and consciousness, we talked about that process of the energy transfer and what's taking place there. See, the thing is, people believe that because this explanation is not explained mainstream, it has no merit to it. A lot of people want to run with the mainstream version of how we got here and our purpose here, which is religion, the Bible. So, it's people's ignorance of facts and energy and spirituality, and them not understanding, what's really going on, that they just simply believe that, you go to heaven. And born again means that, you just stop being bad and now you're good. When you can't find a Christian that has stopped being bad or stopped sinning and now is following the Bible according to what it says is right before God. So, these are simple things, and it's stuff you just got to wrap your head around and be real with yourself about. It's telling you clear as day, born again. Where you come from, woman's womb. Go back to the ancient Egyptians, what they talked about, the woman's womb, the ankh of life, reincarnation, rebirth. It's all giving you the same thing as far as the aspect of reincarnation and escaping it. So this goes deeper than just understanding that, but it's a lot more to it, because you have to understand that it wasn't always like this. As I talked about in my post, it wasn't always this way. And there are ramifications of time. There are issues with time when you understand what time really is. So we're going to really get into a video about time. I think I have if I can put it on YouTube, I'll try to put it on YouTube, but it's going to be a DVD or probably a video about time that I really want people to understand what that really entails and what that really is about, because it's deep. It's creepy almost when you really get into it. But it's one of the things that does not have a dual nature, and that is probably the only thing I can think of that does not have a dual nature to it is time itself. So when you start really getting into those aspects and understanding how things was on this planet a long time ago, according to the ancients, the fact that we dealing with this whole thing tells us clear as day that something happened, and there's some kind of beings or bad guy, whatever you want to call it, that is behind what we're seeing today. And as far as the aspect of reincarnation, it's definitely not something you want to be looking forward to. So the thing that is really keeping people from exposing or fighting for the truth is that simple fact that they believe this stuff is going to happen later, that they're not going to be around for it. And as I talk about, you will not be around for it probably in this lifetime, but in the next, with no memory of what you know now. So your best bet is while you getting this information now and you gathering it and you're starting to build an understanding to go full force with it, to keep going, because you're not going to have it with you in this next lifetime. You have to deal with the world that we're leaving behind, plain and simple. And it just gets so deep when you really understand how far back these lies go and the people that is behind them, who are the same people from, the beginning. And that's just crazy when you really think about it, but it's the truth. So you got to really think about what motivates a person, as I talk about, to follow a plan that they're not going to see through in their lifetime. What kind of motivation is that? We do not have that same kind of motivation as Black people, and that is our problem, because we think it's a joke. We think it's a game that, people play with this stuff. And, I put a lot of time into this information to get it out to you. So I don't think, I don't play with it. I don't take it lightly. I'm really serious about everything that I talk about, and I put a lot of time and effort into what I do. Now, a lot of this stuff is things that we go through every day, that we deal with every day. You deal with death every single day. You reincarnate kind of, sort of, every single day, when you go to sleep. And this is just, again, one of the things that we shoo away, because we don't really get any teaching or any information, especially mainstream, about dreams. And it's the most amazing thing that happened to us every day. So again, when you think about the process of death itself, what happens when you die? You go to sleep. But it's not sleep. You're never waking up again. The same process, the same thing that happens at death, you do every night. You are unconscious. We call it sleep. But your body is still animated because your spirit, your energy is still within. Your body is, physically fit enough to sustain the soul. So you're still here. At death, it leaves. But it's that same process of you laying down and you not moving, for the people that is dead. But when you sleep, it's basically the same process. You're not conscious. You'll never be conscious again at death in that body. So what happens? You dream. Go to sleep, you dream. It's that dream world. You are not in control in that world. Your subconscious is. And that is the whole trick. That is the whole key to it all. Now, if you think about it, death, the same thing. You're dead, you're gone. Your spirit leaves, but you have no thought, no memory of that death. That's kind of sort of what the Sixth Sense movie was trying to hint to people, the people who actually got that point. He was dead the whole time and never realized it until he realized it at the end. But he was dead the whole time. And it's basically how dreams be. You in a dream, you don't realize at the moment, as I talk about, in reality, you're in the bed. You are asleep wherever you sleep at. You're going about the dream thinking it is real. And it will be the same at death until you reincarnate. Until your subconscious that has all the information, all the knowledge, is literally coded, locked within your DNA itself, this code. Talked about this in, I forget what DVD, I got so many now. But we talked about this. Until everything is unlocked, at death your DNA is supposed to unlock and release the energy, what we call the soul, which has that knowledge, your subconscious, which, as I talked about, is for the men, your feminine energy is locked away within your subconscious. For the woman, your masculine energy is locked away within your subconscious. This is the whole parable of yin and yang, male and female, feminine negative energy, masculine positive energy, and that how it's supposed to be one. So, as I talked about during sex, the reason why you create life is because during sex, the man unlocks the masculine energy within the woman, and the woman unlocks the feminine energy within the man, which is our true self, our true being, as I talked about with Genesis. When God is saying, let us make man, he is gender neutral. God is talking about himself in Genesis. Male and female created he, them is talking about the soul, talking about what you really are. It's talking about the process from consciousness creating the energy, which is us, our true self. dualistic, male and female, which is why you have that in Genesis 1, male and female being created, but they're telling you that the first people was Adam and Eve. So when you get the parable, when it's talking about in Genesis 1, male and female, it's talking about your masculine and feminine energy, which is the true you, the spirit created first. And then in Genesis with Adam and Eve, the flesh, being created. So you have the spiritual, which is us true, and then being put in flesh. And we got into all this in previous videos. But when you understand that and you bring it all back to the dream world and death itself, it is what is taking place. So your subconscious having all the knowledge, all the information stored within it, you not having control of it, your subconscious is forced to reincarnate, not just because you not having the power and the knowledge to do so, but because this place is rigged for it to come back. And that's another thing, we got into and we'll get into further. It's rigged. So in order for you to break free of this trap, this planned net, a planet, a net's a trap, for you to break free of it, you must have full power, full control, and unity of the masculine and feminine, the dualistic true nature of us, in order to be fully conscious, which you are not in the dream world, but you want to be. That is it. You do that, you go, you escape. You don't have to reincarnate back here. It's a lot more to all of this. But when you see, for those of you who actually do research and really get into it, when you see what Osiris is telling you, this is what he's telling you, and I talked about before how a lot of people was pointing to the Giza pyramids and everything as being some kind of alignment about the end of the world, when really it's actually a map telling you to escape here. When you put it all together with what Osiris is talking about, we're going to get into this in previous videos and later videos. It's telling you to leave, not to come back here. And we can take that in a literal sense, or as some kind of a way to tell people that the next step is that way. So what is supposedly important to is the Andromeda star system, and to Sirius, which is, we know Osiris is Orion and Sirius put together, and he deals with their star system, it makes sense him telling us to go there. As well as when you pay attention to the Dogon and other ancient civilizations who talked about they came from the stars, they came from Sirius. And you have just so many ancient civilizations talking about that's where we came from, out there, not here. And we know that to be true because, we don't grow on Earth. We were literally put here in the beginning by something. So again, I went through this whole thing with evolution and how what they're telling us does not fit. And when you start to put it all together, I mean, it's so much information that's giving you the clues that reincarnation is not something that you should accept, something that you should accept as being, final, and something that we have to just deal with. That the purpose, the point is for you to not reincarnate back here, to not be back here. And you have these beings and these people that's running everything, preparing the world for something else. And I don't really want to get into all that right now. We'll talk about it down the line. But you can see, they're getting ready for something. Everything is not set the way people think it is. And a lot of people think that this stuff is written. This is what's supposed to happen. They are very actively executing their plan and going about their plan. But it's not as if they're not doing it as if everything is done. Everything is just written, or it'd be done already. They would have had it out the way. It's contingencies. They have to factor in us, people waking up, and the distraction is on, and that's basically what it's about. The distraction, the mass distraction, the deception. As long as they can keep us distracted and deceive us, we are not, bothering them and messing with their agenda, and that's basically what that's all about. But a lot of people, really, the ones who are bold enough to think to that point. I get this question all the time. I get that in my inbox all the time about reincarnation. So I wanted to really do this little video to touch on it a little bit, but not go in too deep. It's a lot to it. And when you can look at just your everyday life, dreaming, the fact that it seems so real and what we know about death. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you don't know what happened when you die, or you don't know what's really going to happen. That simple point, far as sleep, and what we can piece together with people who I believe, and you should as well, had the knowledge about this. Just the simple fact they was able to do what they did and know what they knew so long ago tells you that they had a pretty good clue about this. And I don't think you get so many people in the ancient world talking about the same thing, just different ways. So the reason why I talk about meditation and why it's important is because that's what's going to give you the control eventually of the dream world. I've been meditating for over 13 years now, and I'm telling you, I wouldn't talk about it if I didn't see actual results, actual differences. You'll start noticing it, after the first couple of years you meditate, and you'll see how, how sound, how relaxed your thinking will become, how less scared you'll be, how more, on point, your hand-eye coordination. I mean, everything just heightens. You are a much better person once you meditate, and you really having thoughts on training your mind, because that's what meditation is really about. You training your consciousness to do what you want to do. You programming yourself to exist in this physical world the correct way, and to spiritually, grow, to unite, to really gain that trust of your subconscious, to have it understand that you are ready. That's basically what it is. I'm not going to give you all this power and knowledge if you're a child and you don't really understand what you need to do. And it kind of sort of, it throws you off a little bit, because you would think that, it's like, hey, we in this thing together, like, give me the information, like, I'm just, let me wake up so we can move on. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people believe this whole thing is some kind of test, some kind of training, but I basically don't believe that no more, based upon the whole DNA tampering. But yeah, I mean, it still could be. It's just the DNA tampering is just too extensive when you pay attention, as I talked about previous videos. The whole DNA thing, it's just, I can't wrap my hand around that one. That is literally something that, genetically modified us. Same thing with the apes that I talked about. And, just the whole evolution of us and them, and the similarities, and the fact that we're sharing all this DNA and genes with these animals. This is tampering. This is creation, as far as in a physical sense, to trap the spirit, or who knows what really it was about. Talk about it a lot in Saturn and Satan series, but it's a lot to it. But all of it, it comes back to reincarnation. I know a lot of white people that follow me don't like that aspect of it when I talk about the spiritual aspect of all of this, because spiritually they have to go a different path than we do, and that really has to deal with melanin, as I talked about. And anybody who's seen consciousness, carbon and melanin, the matrix of reincarnation DVD, you understand what I'm talking about. That's one of the most informative videos on this that I have out, so definitely check that out if you have not. It's a lot of information in there, but it's just so much to it. So the point is, again, everything, the combination of all this information, everything we're trying to figure out, is going to lead you back to that single fact. Everything you're going through in your life, everything that you're putting up with, all the knowledge, information you gather, to not have it coming back here, it's just something that you definitely don't want to go through. So, again, meditation is the key to really breaking free, to really making that connection and really unlocking the masculine or feminine energy within yourself. You can go across every ancient civilization and they're talking about this exact thing in different ways. It is the most important thing that we must do within our existence, is really make that connection of masculine and feminine energy. And as you study and learn more about all this, you'll see that's true. So reincarnation, to answer that question for a lot of you, we're going to get into this much deeper in later videos. That's basically, in a nutshell, what you need to understand about it. Religious people, the whole idea of, you dying and, there's some heaven out there and everything, and it's just for people who follow this book. I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy. And ain't nobody going anywhere because there's nobody following that book, including any Christians that's watching and any Christian on this planet. They ain't following the book anyway. So for them to do what they need to do to get to their heaven, they're not doing it anyway. So it's just crazy. So, it's a lot of places people are running to find these spiritual things. And, we always talk about the spooky stuff and crazy stuff that people talk about. And I see there's a lot of people just jumping from one spiritual thing to the other and not being really rational about what they follow. So to me, if you're going to believe that, if you're going to say somebody's crazy for following this imaginary Jesus or what have you, you have to say the same for the people that's talking about these ancestors as being these spirits that's just out somewhere, and stuff. I mean, people got to cut that out. And it's just not true. You got to really understand, as I talked about before, we are the ancestors. The energy is within us. There is no new energy that is being created when a person is born. It's the same energy. Plain and simple, being transferred. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred from one form to another. So, in theory, when you understand, you should have the information, the knowledge of everything, since everything is connected. It's just that simple. A lot of people can't wrap their head around that because we are living in this divisive system right now that's everybody's me. I'm my person, I'm me. But we really fail to acknowledge all the similarities that we have and how we are the same. And that's how they can control us, because we are the same. We think the same. You do this to one person, it'll affect the same person if you do the right things. They are controlling every single neighborhood with the same hip hop culture. It's affecting the same people in Philly as it's affecting the people in Detroit, Chicago. We doing the same shit. So we're not looking at those similarities and them understanding this, and we're not getting it. So to me, it's just as crazy if you're talking about this Jesus Christ, if you're talking about these ancestors living in trees in the forest or what have you. And the people who say they speak it to the ancestors, it's just as crazy. People talking about they speaking to Jesus is just as crazy as the people talking about they speak it to the ancestors. I'm talking to the ancestors. Yeah, what they saying. If you're going to believe it's some spiritual beings somewhere that's talking to people, you can ask them the same questions that you would say about Jesus. Okay, why ain't you helping us out? Because I get a lot of people that's hit me with this talk about the ancestors and the ancestors in the bushes and the trees and, stuff like that. Okay, so tell them to give you the lottery numbers for next week. Tell them to do something to help. If they spiritual and they got some kind of connection or knowledge, they just energy sitting in the trees. Like, what the fuck is they doing? It's crazy. People got to stop that and understand how crazy that sounds. It ain't no ancestors nowhere. You are the ancestors. That was the whole point of slavery, for them to basically beat the information we naturally pass down to each other from reincarnation, to beat it out of us, to take it from us. Because as I said, and the many hidden accomplishments of African people, I talked about this in that video, it's on YouTube, what that was about. Because they looked and seen that they was killing us off, but you had civilizations popping up with the same knowledge of the people they just killed. How is that possible? How is that possible? This is what we naturally did in ancient times. We passed down information. So as I talked about, as Azra Kwesi points out very well, about how the Egyptians came up from Ethiopia. They came up from lower Africa up to Kemet. And it's like, how did they know to go there? And when they got there, how did they have the knowledge that they have to even try to build pyramids? To even do what they did as far as building the colossal statues? I say before, those great pyramids, Khufu, Khafre, Menkaure was there before, those Africans came up into Kemet. But you still have to look at what they still was able to build after that, which just as, to me, unbelievable as the pyramids itself. They had that knowledge already. How? Because we was passing it down naturally. So they bred it out of us. They beat it out of us. Hundreds of years of slavery of us only knowing what they taught us. And we reincarnated and brought it right back. And we still suffering from what they call the slave gene, us passing down this information, because we're still passing it down. It's not a coincidence, as I talk about, when we have our kids and they're born, they bad automatically, or they know stuff they shouldn't know at that age. They dancing to music, you know, the rhythm, and they just doing stuff naturally, like knowing where to go to drink milk, and just knowing that it's already programmed in the DNA to know to walk and talk later on, because we pass this information down. But them controlling us, the people who was controlling this consciousness, controlling us to program us to what we can pass down. That's basically what happened. So it's, like I said, it's deep. It's a lot to it. But, you know, don't be banging with all that ancestors talk because it just seemed like the cool thing that black people doing. Like, stop that. It's just, it don't make no sense. It's just as crazy as Jesus Christ in the goddamn clouds. Some ancestors in the bushes and the trees and shit. That's retarded. No, it's not that. It's in you. Plain and simple. Anything that you seeing, anything that you manifest, is coming from you. Anything that you seeing in your dream, it's not the ancestors coming to you. You are the ancestors. That energy is you. So I want to thank you guys again for taking the time to watch. And hopefully this answered some of your questions about reincarnation. But as I said, we're going to get into this a lot more. I think, again, if you've seen my videos, I mean, you get it. Like I always say, you understand what I'll talk about. But it's a lot of other things that I help kind of bridge the gap for anybody who still may not understand. Time is one of the things that's going to help out with that. So we really want to talk about time and really get into that. And really kind of sort of get into, I want to talk about kind of sort of for the people who saw Avengers, what that is about with the Infinity Stones and what that really means, the meaning to all that. And that's not new, you know, for people who understand about, you know, that whole thing. With the Infinity Stones and what that's really talking about. We're going to touch on that. And of course, as I talked about before, Stan Lee, creator of Marvel, gets all this stuff from the ancient world. We know the original Marvel characters was based off ancient Egyptian gods. So he know what he's talking about. They know what they're talking about. It's a reason why Disney bought the company, because they know what they could do with it and how they can get out their esoteric teachings and their agenda in the movies. And, you know, it just fly right past a lot of our heads. The simple fact that you had the Georgia Guidestones talking about killing most of the people on the planet. And then you have Georgia being a company that was behind, partly behind the Avengers movie, and that the movie is about killing half the people in the fucking universe or half the people on the planet. It's not a coincidence. They're trying to tell you something with that whole thing. And I know a lot of people already got that point, but, you know, it's kind of creepy when you watch it. And you know what it's talking about. It's like, damn, they really just going to put it out there just like that? It's their plan. It's their agenda. It's a lot easier to control us. A lot easier to control us if they get rid of half of us. We're talking about billions of people. And that's this sick agenda that these people have that we just going to let happen. Because, as I said, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Because it's just, you know, the control is just, it's that good. I have no faith in humanity. I'm sorry, I don't. Which is why I'm teaching about how to get the fuck out of here and not come back to this stuff, not be born back into this world that they trying to have here for you. So some people get it, some people don't. Humanity right now is so lost. I mean, not saying we can't come back, but we're on the brink right now. Anytime you got people falling for every single thing the media talks about, I mean, come on, it's sickening. It's crazy. People following these celebrities like they're gods more than they do the gods that they're supposed to be. They claim they follow. I mean, it's crazy. So, you know, we get too caught up in too much stuff, and it's not too many people that's really thinking completely free. And yeah, I do my part, do what I can to wake people up. I know you guys do as well, and I appreciate that. But yeah, a lot to get into. It's going to be a lot more videos coming up on YouTube. I have been really busy with a lot of stuff, but I have a lot more videos I'm about to put back up on YouTube and be doing that more again once I finish what I got to take care of. But thanks for the support, everybody who purchased and support, and definitely check out the clothes and everything, the shoes and everything like that. And I appreciate the support and everybody who has been really supporting from day one. And I'm here. I ain't went nowhere. I'll be back with a lot more videos, but thanks for watching.